It's your friendly neighborhood librarian, Miss Magda from the Turner Free Library. um, so this month there are a lot of awareness items to be highlighted. So I decided that maybe every Friday I would bring you guys a different story that highlights something from this month. So um, there's a whole list of things actually, and I have put them on my wonderful whiteboard over here. So today we are reading a book that will highlight Asian American and Pacific Islanders Heritage Month, and highlights it really because it is a book that's written by someone who is of Asian American or Asian or Pacific Islanders descent. And I always like to highlight different stories from people of different backgrounds because representation matters. So here we go. So the author of this book, Ann Yu-Kyung Choi and So-yeon Kim, and I'm really, really sorry if I'm butchering these names. Anne she emigrated to Canada from South Korea, and she attended the University of Toronto, where she studied English, sociology, and education. So that's great that she has found her passion, and she's written this beautiful book for us to read. And we have the artist, the illustrator, So-yeon Kim, who is also in Toronto, Toronto-based, and she was born in Korea as well. And she specializes in fine sketching and painting techniques to create three-dimensional dioramas. So I think that we are in good hands. We have a great storyteller and we have a great illustrator. And so let's see what Once Upon an Hour is about. Once Upon an Hour. This book is published by Orca Book Publishers. Time for bed, said Mother. Yuri looked at the clock. Although she couldn't count sheep, the hands and numbers on the clock's face puzzled her. How do you know? She asked. Mother thought for a moment. In fact, let me show you what that clock looks like because I didn't realize it was going to come into play. So this is the clock. It has all the animals on it. When I was your age, I had trouble telling time too. Your great grandmother, my Harmony, told me a story about a special group of animals in a compassionate mountain that used the sun and moon to tell time. Maybe that story would help you too. That's what we're going to learn about. As the mist rose with the morning sun, a child struggled up a steep trail in search of a daraji, a plant that grew deep in the mountains. The child's mother was ill, and the root of this plant could be brewed to make a special healing tea. Mountain, who was wise and kind, took pity on the child and asked the animals of the morning to help the child find the daraji plant. The animals shook their heads. They had other things to do. I'm not trying to help this kid find the daraji plant. When the sun rises, it's time for me to chase the moon away. Rabbit disappeared into the dawn. When the sun peeks over the eastern horizon, it's time for me to greet its warmth. Dragon flew off into the clouds. When the sun climbs the morning sky, I need to bask in its bright rays. Snake rested on a rock to dream, to daydream. Now, guys, I've been skating past these wonderful illustrations, but we cannot let this story time go by without looking at how beautiful these illustrations are. Hopeful, Mountain turned to the animals of the afternoon to help. The animals ignored the child, who on tiptoes plucked some berries to eat before climbing higher. When the sun shines high above the birds, it's time for me to exercise my legs. Hey, horse trotted down a worn path. Or it's more like when the afternoon starts to tilt, It's time for me to graze. Sheep nibbled on red clover and sweet grass. When the clouds soak the treetops, it's time for me to find my supper. Monkey leaped from branch to branch, plucking persimmons. We are learning something, right? Based on patterns of these animals. What time of day it is. The child yawned, took a short nap, and climbed higher still. Saddened, Mountain asked the animals of the evening for help. The animals sighed. When the sun moves west and the shadows grow long, it's time for me to nest. Chicken pecked at the soil around her. When the sun has gone down and the skies are purple, it's time for me to stand guard. Ears alert, Dog sniffed the air. When moonlight sparkles over waterfalls, it's time for me to dream. Pig yawned and went back to sleep. We're sensing a pattern here. It looks like it's time for a lot of them to go to sleep right now. In the fading light, the child stumbled and fell down the mountainside, crashing into a tree. Concerned, Mountain, who could do nothing, turned to the animals of the night for help. The animals darted away. When the sky brightens with starlight, it's time for me to hunt. Mouse hummed a tune and searched for food. Looks like everyone's sleeping, and it's time for me to get some food. Good job, Mouse, because you know in the daytime people will try to catch you. When the river shimmers with moonbeams, it's time for me to close my eyes. Cow sank into a deep sleep. When the moon gets ready to slumber, it's time for me to stretch my muscles. Tiger pounced in pursuit of a shooting star. See, I thought he was actually going to try to go for that mouse. As Cow snored gently, the child sat up and began to sing a sweet, sad song. I walk over the path when Daraji flowers bloom. Mountain's heart also ached with sadness. Tears flowed and turned into snow. The cold tickled Rabbit's ears. Rabbit looked up and saw the distressed child. As the sun rose in the east, Rabbit's thumping feet brought the animals of the morning into action. We can help, they said. Rabbit collected wood for a fire. Dragon found the very best Daraji. A snake scooped them into a sack. The child's sweet song wove through the sun's midday rays. The animals of the afternoon heard it as news of the child's troubles unraveled. Or traveled, sorry. We can help, they said. Horse carried the sack of Daraji. Sheep made a warm blanket out of wool. Monkey picked the ripest persimmons to feed the child. The song floated in and around the clouds as the dimming sunlight turned to twilight. The animals of the evening heard it next. We can help, they said. Chicken laid an egg for the child and cooked it over a fire. Dog watched over the child as the shadows grew long. Pig told magic tales of flying pigs found only in dreams. Everyone is pitching in to help this child. As the moonlight became starlight, the animals of night heard the song. We can help, they said. Mouse sang a lullaby. Cow carried the sleeping child on her back. Tiger protected them during the long journey when the child was safely home and the mother was able to drink her special tea. Aww, the animals banded together to get her home. At last, Mountain was pleased. In appreciation of their fine efforts, Mountain offered the animals the gift of time, divided into the hours in which they each helped the child in need. Ooh, what a great way to be able to tell time, huh? I'll bet the animals can help me tell time, said Yuri. She drew a large circle on a piece of paper and divided it into sections. Carefully, she sketched each animal until her clock was complete. It's the hour of the dog, said Mother, tucking Yuri in. Bedtime, said Yuri, as she drifted off into a dream of a wise mountain and its kind-hearted animals. You guys can see the clock that she made right here. And that's it. That's Once Upon an Hour by Ann Yu-Kyung Choi and Sooyeon Kim. Now, guys, I challenge you. Take a look, maybe reread the book so that you can see what hours will be assigned, or you could look at this diagram here, or actually at the back of the book as well. Check out this book, by the way, so that you can see it in person. And you can also use this image as a reference. Create your own clock and see how the animals can help you tell time. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and